Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. We are pretty much at the NFL halfway point when there's a 17-game regular season, as there is now. There's no such thing as being officially halfway over through the regular season for each team. But if you had your bye week, you're just shy of halfway at 8 of 17 games. If you didn't have your bye week, you played 9 of 17 games, a little over half. So today, The Athletic posted an article with their MVP picks, with pretty much at the midway point of the season. They had 52 people vote. They did it first place, second place, third place votes, points awarded on a 3-2-1 basis. Athletic is behind a paywall, so I won't share the article, but I'll go over the 9 guys who received at least one vote and how they're doing this season. Let's get into it, starting with first, we got Patty Mahomes, Mahomeboy, Patrick Mahomes, 27 first place votes, 10 second, 8 third, so somehow wasn't on 8 ballots. 6-2 Chiefs, tied for atop the AFC, leading the AFC West. If we take a look at his numbers, I did a video a few days ago. He's actually on pace to break the NFL record for passing yards in a season. Leading the NFL, of course, 21 touchdown passes, also leads the NFL. His quarterback rating is actually, and his QBR are actually both just the 4th highest of his career. But again, it's been an excellent season. Hasn't missed a beat, despite Tyreek Hill moving on to the Dolphins. More about Tyreek Hill in a little bit. We see he doesn't run much, but when he does, he's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. If we go game by game, he has multiple touchdown passes in 6 of his 8 games and at least 1 in every game this season. Patrick Mahomes leads the way according to the Athletic. Second place, the starting quarterback for the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, 17 first place votes, 16 second place votes, 13 third place votes. Was a question mark going into the season after he led the Eagles to the playoffs, but they got destroyed by the Buccaneers once they got there. Well, again, he's 8-0. If we take a look at his numbers, he's completing about 7% more of his passes than he did last season, throwing a touchdown 5% of the time, well better than his 3.7 last year, and interception rate is about 2.5 times less than it was last season, 2.1% last season, just 0.8% this season, just 2 picks in 8 games, 107.8 rating, way above his 87.2 last season. His QBR, I believe, is 5th in the NFL. Take a look at his running. Yes, he's only averaging 3.7 yards per carry, but he still has 6 rushing touchdowns on the year. Jalen Hurts is my fantasy starting quarterback, and I've definitely been enjoying having him. He's also thrown 8 touchdown passes over his last 3 games. Third, we have Josh Allen, who may have been leading this 2 weeks ago, but has had his little bit of struggles. He now has a UCL injury. Not clear whether he's going to play against the Vikings this week, but in this Athletic poll, he received 8 first-place votes, 17 second-place votes, and 12 third-place votes. These 3 I named are the only guys to receive first-place votes, despite the disappointing game last week against the Jets. Still 6-2 atop the AFC East. It was his first game without a touchdown pass, and in 6 of his first 8 games, he's had multiple touchdown passes. Take a look at his numbers. Touchdowns, almost his career high rate, pretty much even with his 2020 rate when he finishes the runner-up for MVP. But his interception rate is his highest since his rookie season. He's thrown 4 of his 8 interceptions in the past 2 games. Still 3rd in the NFL in QBR. Again, excellent running quarterback, averaging 6.3 yards per carry, most rushing yards for Allen on average since his rookie season. So while Josh Allen has kind of struggled over the last 2 games, he was off to such a great start. He still needed to be near the top. First non-quarterback, 4th place, we got Tyreek Hill. He received 5 second-place votes and 6 third place votes. What a season he is having. Somehow has just 3 touchdowns on the year, 2 of them coming in week 2, but he did get his third last week. Leading the NFL in catches, 76, receiving yards, 1,104. I did a video the other day on him on pace to break the NFL record for most receiving yards in a single season, going on pace for over 2,000. He has 5 games in which he's totaled at least 143 receiving yards on the year, 4 games with double-digit reception totals. Tyreek Hill has paid huge dividends for the Miami Dolphins, who are currently 6-3. Next, we have Lamar Jackson, and if the Ravens hadn't blown so many leads that, it seemed like where they had the game in hand, he could have been even closer to the top. In this, he's 5th, receiving 2 second-place votes, 3 third-place votes on the season. Again, blown leads against the Dolphins, Bills, and Giants. They could easily be 9-0, but they're not. Of late, he has just 3 touchdown passes in his last 3 games. He had 10 in his first 3 games. So that definitely, got him off to a good start. But again, just 6 total touchdown passes in his last 6 games. His completion percentage is actually his lowest since his rookie season. But his touchdown percentage is his 3rd highest of 5 years. Interceptions thrown 6, so he's throwing less than he did the previous 2 seasons. His QBR, I believe, is 6th or 7th in the NFL. Still a great running quarterback, not running for touchdowns like he has in the past, but he has 2 rushing touchdowns, but his 7.4 rushing yards per attempt lead the NFL. So Lamar Jackson definitely got off to a great start. It's cooled down a bit, but main reason why the Baltimore Ravens are leading the AFC North. Next, we have Tua Tagovailoa, one of the hardest names to pronounce, and try pronouncing his real first name. I will not attempt that. But he is 6th in this voting, 2 second-place votes, 2 third-place votes. 6-1 as a starter, almost could say 6-0 because he left in the start that he lost. You figure he would be higher if he didn't miss 2 full games and much of another one. But what a season it has been for Tua on the year. 15 touchdown passes, just 3 interceptions, throwing a touchdown pass on nearly 7% of his passing attempts, leading the NFL with a 115.9 rating and a 80.2 QBR. Rarely gets sacked, just 8 sacks in his 7 games, averaging 283 yards passing a game, more than 78 yards more per game than last season. Tua has definitely been an elite quarterback and could move up the rankings as long as he doesn't miss any more games this season. 7th, Geno Smith. Who would have thought before this season you'd see Geno Smith on here, seen as a draft bust after he was taken in the 2nd round of the 2013 NFL draft. He received 4 third-place votes in here, 6-3. The surprise leaders of the NFC West just beat my New York Giants in the Giants' previous game. This came out of nowhere. Who would have thought trading Russell Wilson was such a great move for the Seahawks? Russell Wilson has been, one of the league's biggest disappointments. Meanwhile, Geno Smith has thrown multiple touchdown passes in 7 of his 9 games, leads the NFL with a 73.1 completion percentage, just 4 interceptions in his 9 games. His 68.0 quarterback QBR is among the league leaders. Geno Smith, definitely one of the league's biggest surprises. The only running back to receive votes, Derrick Henry, received 2 third-place votes. Nearly beat the Chiefs last week despite Malik Willis starting at quarterback. But Henry, 870 rushing yards and 9 rushing touchdowns on the year in 8 games. In his past 5 games, has gone over 100 yards in each of them after somewhat of a slow start. Now leads the NFL in rushing attempts, 183, rushing yards, 870, rushing yards per game, 108.8. Not much of a receiving threat, never really has been, but still 140 receiving yards in 8 games. And again, has the Titans in first place in the AFC South. They had won 5 games in a row until their loss to the Chiefs last week. And last, the only defensive player on here, Micah Parsons, received 2 third-place votes in his 8 games, has 8 sacks, 2 fumbles forced, has 2 sacks in 4 different games this season. So that is where his entire sack total has come from. The reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year, runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last season, on pace for 17 sacks after 13 last season. He's also recovered a fumble for a touchdown. Dallas is 6-2. They've had some offensive troubles at points during the season. Had Dak Prescott miss some action, but Micah Parsons, definitely one of the scariest men for opposing quarterbacks, and is the last vote getter for this Athletic midseason MVP poll. What do you guys think? Do you think Mahomes is the winner right now? Do you think Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen is a clear 1, 2, 3 to begin the season? Is there anyone that did not receive a vote that you're a little bit surprised? Is there anyone who's didn't receive a vote that you think can later on in the year? Maybe like, I don't know, a Joe Burrow, if the Bengals could go on somewhat of a run. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.